Sameer Baisiwala, who talks about the contradictory trends within the pharmaceutical space and how the US generics market is panning out for export-oriented Indian pharma companies. Listen in to a slice of that exclusive conversation with ET Now's Ajay Sharma.
US would be about 35% of the total business, India would be 30-35 for the industry, and the balance is ROW markets and API. So that's the way the whole revenue structure is made up. Now, within that, in the US, I would say that after 3 years, the playground is looking much more greener to me. I think the price erosion is getting less and less fierce. So, which means from high teens, 17-18% price erosion, we are now looking at about 7 or 8% price erosion. We have started to see some of the largest players, US and European companies, started to exit some of these products and leaving space for volume gains, or maybe at times pockets of price increases for the Indian players. So therefore, I think that the US play field is going to be better as we go forward. What is very important is that companies need to be ready with a pipeline to fire. And that is not a given for all the companies. And there could be various reasons for that. When there's a patent expiration, what's a IP court case, and so on and so forth. So it just means that different companies would fire at a different point in time, and therefore the stock price differential that you just talked about.
So if one were to analyze the commentary coming in from at least the large 7-8 names, what is the sense you're getting? Because we are just over with the earnings season as well, as far as this opportunity is concerned. If not names, at least you can tell us the kind of therapies which Indian companies are ready with to address over there and take this market share, which is up for grabs coming up in what you spoke about.
Yeah, sure. So the commentary coming from companies vary from one versus the other. I would say that some companies are getting into these complex generics, very specific areas. If you ask, then you'll start to see Indian companies play a greater role in inhalers. For example, we are expecting 2 good approvals, one for each company this year. Companies are going to get more entrenched in biosimilars. All eyes are on specialty portfolio. So we have seen the top 2 companies launch their lead product, and let's see how the market take-up is.
Biosimilars is an area where you have worked quite ahead of the curve. Of course, we know the big company, the play which is associated with biosimilars here. How is the situation shaping up? Do you think the Indian play available is geared for that opportunity? Because again, after of course, the stock also rallied quite sharply. Now again, people have started raising some question mark on how much can this company derive and how the biosimilar opportunity would come out. Some people are questioning it again.
No, absolutely. So talking about biosimilars, this is a late cycle innovation. So small molecules, chemical entities got innovated from 60s onwards till 90s, and therefore, as you know, they enjoy 20 years of patent life, and then they started to come off patent, and we heard a lot about them in previous decade and this decade. What happened with biotech drugs, that they were innovations in late 1990s or even early part of last decade. So they are going to come off patent now. So it's the first time that the world is going to see the advent of biosimilars. My guess here is it's a much misunderstood concept. So just to summarize it, there is about, out of $1.1 trillion drug market in the world, biotech drugs is about $260 billion, of which $60 billion is between 9 products which are going to lose patent protection between now, I would say a year or 2 back, to 2025. So this $60 billion is up for grabs for these biosimilar companies. And there, I think in the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of technical questions have been answered. A lot of manufacturing challenges and regulatory challenges have been overcome by these companies. And 2018, my guess here is that the total revenues for about 2.9, call it $3 billion between just 6 products. On an average, about $500 million. We've not even started this journey. And so I think now the whole medical ecosystem is getting more and more comfortable with this, which means the payers, the doctors, the patients, and there's no interchangeability at the moment. Even without that, this is a sort of outcome that we had with about 30-35% utilization. As you know, generics goes 90%. So as we go from 2018 to 2025, we think that this $3 billion is going to $13 billion. And if you ask me, this place is taken. No new player can come in because it takes you 6 years plus or minus to really get to the market. So there are these top 6-7 players, and they're going to have a good time over these 7 years.
Wow, so the opportunity size is just being scratched. Let's shift focus and talk about, a lot of Indian companies are now talking about trying or looking at China for business. It's been spoken about earlier as well. Dr. Reddy's has made quite commentary recently. So out of the 19 billion which we export from pharma to US, we do less than $200 million to China, but we import a whole lot of material in the form of APIs from them. Do you think the equation on the pharma side, because these two are equally large geographies almost, but we hardly have any business. Do you think some of the companies can start initiating business over there and can be an area of opportunity for Indian companies?
Yeah, sure. So it's not getting to a point of calling it a theme. We are seeing a couple of companies taking more interest in it. What's the history behind this is that China for last 10-15 years was very closed market. Indian companies actually have tried a lot to get in there. I'm taking you back 15-17 years. The largest Indian company, they all landed up over there, but there was no takers. It's a very difficult geography to really work. But now as China is making a progress away from generics into innovation side, and the market has become very sizable, call it $70 to $80 billion. There is no hard numbers on this, versus the US, which is just $40-45 billion in generics. So China is a lot bigger. So as they move forward into innovation, they need someone to take care of the volume side of the generics. So the government is getting more friendlier, and they are started to open the doors. So we'll see how this goes. But yes, there is now promise after many years that maybe there's a game for Indian companies there.
There's a small area of pharmaceutical, names and theme, the API theme, which is market is excited about. Smaller companies, several of them, but many of them have seen private equity interest come in even at this small stage. And now people are saying probably API manufacturers could actually be in structural good area for next 4-5 years. Have you looked at this theme? Do you think it has potential to become bigger in the next couple of years?
No, so I must confess I've not worked too much on this theme, but API is a good place to be in. What you need there is either the product selection. So if you've got a great technology, you can be a big winner over there. You need a cost leadership. If you are the lowest cost producer, you have the market with you, or you need to have scale. If you are within the top 2 or 3 by volumes in the world, then customers will come to you. So if you have any or all of these strengths, API can be a very, very exciting place to be.
What's your thought on hospitals? Because that's also, after being around for such a long time, market is kind of getting excited about it. Some of the names which are on the cusp of ending their capex cycle and their assets are coming into the mode for throwing cash flows, and where some of the pledges are being revoked, are working. But other stocks in hospital space are also being looked at closely. What are your thoughts on hospital stocks in India?
So I would say, as a sector, hospitals had a very large capex cycle in the preceding 4 or 5 years, and so therefore the balance sheets got stretched. However, the capacities increased by about 50 or 60%. So the platform from where they are working now is much bigger. The ability to get more and more profits is much bigger. Now, as you know, that hospitals take about 2 to 3 years for break even. So we are at a point where we are done with the capex cycle, and a lot of these hospitals are in year 2 or year 3. So they're all turning profitable. So I think it's a great place to be in, and these companies are being very disciplined about their incremental capex and the future cash flows, which is not putting money behind fresh capacities. So my guess here.
That was an exclusive interaction. Sameer Baisliwal, one of the oldest pharma analysts. I've been tracking pharma, Mobina, and he's one of the oldest voice by far always contrarian.